switching AI models, SetApp's new options, and internet information sites sold. This is MacVoices. Today's MacVoices is supported by TV Plus Talk, our MacVoices series with Charlotte Henry focused on Apple TV Plus. From shows and other content to the business side of things, there's always something to learn about Apple's streaming service. Find it in the categories listings on the MacVoices website, or go directly to macvoices.com/category/TV-talk. This is something that I did. Actually, I did this today, and it worked very well. Anthropic's Claude can now absorb your past conversations with other AI chatbots. So I went to Claude and I asked, how do I do this? And it gave me a prompt to paste into, in my case, ChatGPT, and then what to do with the output of that prompt to bring it into Claude. It worked perfectly. And now Claude knows more about me, for better or worse, and seems to be definitely giving better responses. Marty, you said you did this as well?
I did this last week just because I'm trying to keep up on this. And it was surprising because I've been using ChatGPT for a while, so I had a lot of information that got pooled into Claude. And Claude was able to give me a description of myself. I was putting together a bio for a presentation based on other material that I had, those same kinds of questions and things that I had created using ChatGPT. And it was pretty remarkable. And now I kind of have both apps on my desktop, and I've been using Claude more for some of the project-based stuff that I'm doing. Still going back to ChatGPT for things that I have always used it for. So I'm starting to differentiate my use between them. But you're right, Claude was, and some friend of mine, I texted and mentioned it to him, and he said, well, welcome to the club. He's a Claude user, one of the guys from the old Mac gang. And it's been pretty remarkable.
Yeah. I just found it really interesting that, and there didn't seem to be any, one of the things, if I remember the prompt correctly, is that, tell me everything you know about me, to tell that to ChatGPT. And so it's, and I'm supposed to tell it that I'm moving to another service. And so tell me everything so that I can move. And ChatGPT happily did it. There was no restriction on it. So, and it also, for me, and Marty, maybe you disagree, but it also showed the value for me of turning on the memory options for these things, that you don't have to start from scratch every time. Now, yes, I know I'm giving up information about myself, and that's a debate we've had here a million times, but it definitely performs better the more I use it. And Claude's the same thing now.
What I found was actually an engineered prompt that Claude said, just put this into ChatGPT and it will generate what you need, and then you can import it into Claude. And that's how I got my stuff over.
Yeah.
Would you put that in the chat room, or the link to that in the chat room?
Sometime today.
Yeah.
I have to go look for it.
Yeah, I don't have it on this machine, or I would, but it's not hard. You can just, ask Claude.
Ask Claude, of course. That's a natural thing, yeah.
How to do it. And, that's another thing that I'm finding more and more is sometimes the most basic questions are where the best places to start. Because I did a vibe coding project over the weekend, and I started in Claude with something that was just, the very basic. Man, it took it and ran and got me probably 70% of the way there after the second prompt. And after that, it was fine tuning. So, let's see. starting to run short on time. This is one that was left over from last week, and I kind of apologize for not getting it up sooner. But SetApp is now letting, well, how do they say it? They now let users buy or subscribe to select apps individually. And this seems to have been a bit in opposition to the original SetApp model. And so I don't know what the impetus is. I don't know. Has anybody made any changes to their SetApp subscription or subscribed to things individually? Here? Okay.
I think for now, everything is included if you have a SetApp subscription. So this would just be if you don't have one, you could, I guess, for cheaper, pick out one or two things.
Yeah, from a developer standpoint, and I'm not a developer, but I thought, okay, this might be, a nice way for me to get in on the subscription aspect of things and let SetApp handle it for a fee, obviously. Also get some credibility because of the quality of things that SetApp does, and maybe even, put it out there. I can be part of SetApp, or you can just subscribe to my app individually. So I need to do some more research.
Sounds like that's coming, but I don't think they've done it yet.
See? Yeah, maybe not. I don't know, because I saw it and I haven't had a chance to check it out.
The SetApp has a post. I put it in our Slack a few days ago. And they listed some apps, but they were all still ones that you got with your SetApp subscription. But they made it sound like, down in the future, then maybe there would be apps that would only be available separately. And even if you had a SetApp subscription, you'd have to pay additional to use that app. But that hasn't happened yet, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, and that's kind of my question is it going to be you have to pay separately to get it, or you can just get it without having to subscribe the whole way to SetApp?
Well, right now it seems like it's like there are certain apps that you can get, and instead of paying, $11 a month or whatever SetApp is, you could pay like $2 a month and get like just this one app. And that's not available for all their apps. It was just a handful listed. But all of them were ones that were currently included in the all-in plan. But they did imply that maybe in the future, a few months down the line, that there would be apps that wouldn't be included in the all-in plan. So you'd have to pay extra even if you already had a SetApp and subscription. Which I kind of, that seems like that dilutes their brand. I don't know.
Well, MacPaw, though, has shown itself to be very flexible in how they are going to do things, because they were one of the first ones to try an iOS app store, and they shut it down. And so, I applaud them for trying this, whatever it is, whatever form it takes, and it'll be interesting to see, because I don't think they hang on to things that are not really that not functioning that well. And
I wonder if there were a lot of apps that you had to buy extra that would start like, well, wait a minute, why am I even signing up for SetApp? Right. The regular plan. It might damage the regular plan. Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Or there's always that thing of there are these one or two apps that I want, and SetApp's going to make me pay for everything. And so maybe just give them the option to get the ones they want. And at the risk of sounding self-promotional, just today, I released an interview with MacPaw about, Moonlock, their security app. There is a version of it that is part of Clean My Mac. There's also a standalone version that is a bit more fully featured. So if this is a concern to you, you should go and listen to that interview. And it was unfortunately one that was done live at CES, and we had a technical problem and lost it. So we had to recreate it again. And so I went back and talked to the developer. So check it out if you are so inclined. A couple other things, just one more informational than anything. The DownDetector and Speedtest have been sold for over $1 billion. So, and I'm a user of both, so I'm hoping this doesn't affect their functionality. But there it is, FYI.
I suspect that the free versions will get severely. Well, I've used I haven't used DownDetector for half a dozen years or more, but I do use the Ookla speed test, and I suspect I'll either crapify it with more ads or limit the number of times you can use it and try to get a minimal per use or prescription fee.
As a developer, especially Speedtest, it seems like it's an awfully low barrier to duplicating that. I mean, it's like, in fact, right now, it's like, can't anybody just go into Claude and have their own speed test in 15 minutes? How is that worth $1 billion or even $100?
Well, I think, Jim, it's not getting the software to do it. It's probably getting the server placements so that you can test it at different endpoints. That's maybe where the value resides.
Oh, and I'm not sure how. Sorry, Jim. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, for me as a user, what do I care? I want to know what the speed is from my endpoint. I guess if you wanted to be a server owner that wanted to, know how your server was doing, but I don't think that's the main use case for this software.
So, okay, Jim, invert that. You want to know your endpoint, that's your home, your office. Well,
yeah.
Where does that get served from? It's the other place that's serving it. That's where there's value created to having the multiplicity of all of those points.
Well, and DownDetector, I don't know how DownDetector was monetized, but DownDetector really, in some ways, is even less than Speedtest, because that's where you go to either report that you're having a problem with something or to see if anybody else is. And at the end of the day, okay, the only thing that I get is, it's not just me. So I'm not wasting my time doing troubleshooting on my system, trying to figure out why I can't connect to service X. Service X is having its own issues. So I can come back and.
Are you paying for it? Because I thought DownDetector, yes, I thought they had tiered levels of service, and that their hook, to get you to pay for it, is that you could monitor your own infrastructure instead of just going and finding out is this site down and not responsive.
Maybe my comments are, well, I know my comments are based only on my use case. That's it. I don't know how they were monetizing. So if that was their hook, then yeah, maybe it makes a whole lot of sense to as someone that's operating a service to get some kind of early warning.
There are at least dozens, probably hundreds of services that offer server monitoring. I use one called Uptime Robot, which I used for free for a long time. Really still could, and still just paying a couple dollars a month. And I know that they have just, like I say, at least dozens, and I'm guessing hundreds of competitors. There are just huge number of people in that space. I can't imagine any of them are making much. They're probably making some money, but not $1 billion money. By the way,
okay, but isn't that isn't that the situation where branding, if you have a well-known and well-established brand, versus the dozens of dwarfs that people use that no one has ever heard of.
I don't think there is any particular well-established brand There's just a bunch of them, and it's it's a very findable service. There's nothing sticky about it. If I wanted to switch to another service,
exactly. It's all about marketing and being known. And who do you use, Jim? Who do you use, Chuck? Who do you, Dave? Oh, we all use we use DownDetector.
I don't think DownDetector is even that. I mean, the kind of services I'm talking about, they actually have servers that go out and ping your service, on a certain, like every 5 minutes or every 1 minute.
Yes.
And that's not what DownDetector does. I don't see how DownDetector would be of any use to a server operator. By the way, a recommendation, something that I've found way more useful, is a site called Down for Everyone or Just Me .com. And for a long time, it was like totally unmonetized and just worked great. And it's still free, and but they do have ads on it now. And it's really great for, like you go to some website and you're like, it's not working. Or, I'll even use it for like,
Okay. So what was that, Down for Everyone or Just Me? Was that the full URL?
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
Hang on. I'm going to post it in the chat rooms because, I did the same thing, Mark. It's like, really? That's a nice.
I've been using it for
URL.
like at least 10 years.
What's your use case for it?
If I can't, for me, a common one is if, I see like my website's not working, and I just did it now. Yeah, ProView, it's just you. ProView.com is up. Well, I'm not having a problem reaching it, but anything, if I have a problem, is like, if I'm trying to reach, Google or YouTube or, any service, then it's like, well, wait a minute, let's try Down for Everyone or Just Me and see, are they really down, or is there just some local problem on my computer? If it seems like the internet's working, well, obviously the internet has to work or I can't get to this. But, if for some reason, sometimes haven't you ever seen like, one website seems to not be working, and you're like, well, wait a minute, is this just, have I got some sort of problem with a firewall, or are they really down? So that's something I use it, every day, but when you need it, it's, oh, great. Okay.
Okay.
And if it says they're down, well, okay, I won't waste any time, wait for them to fix their audit. If it says it's just you, then it's like, okay, now I've got to keep digging and
this one I can understand why they don't have ads, because or why they have ads.
Well, it does have ads now.
That's what I'm saying is, probably you and they're wherever their servers are. Maybe they have servers in multiple locations, and they'll go out and they'll try to ping it, try to do a curl on the xyz.com / index.html and see is it live or not, and then we respond to Jim, yes, it's done, it's dead, or no, it's working.
I think it's very inexpensive to run. I mean, they ran it for years, many years, a better part of a decade. And, one of the things that was, because it was like nothing. It was like the original Google, where, it was just like the most minimal. In fact, it was a good test. Like, is the web working at all? Can I get to, that? Because it just came back with, 100 bytes of HTML. So it was, so now it's, they did finally figure out, hey, we can do some monetization. Actually, it looks like, I haven't looked at it for a while. It looks like they cleaned it up a little bit.
They have all sorts of sites that they want. Yeah, I agree. It's for them, it's probably very relatively low cost. It's high value for a user, and that's why they'll serve up an ad to get I don't know, 10 cents or 2 cents.
We're going to move on. We're going to move on from this because we spend a lot of time here, and this has a limited appeal to our audience. So we're going to end with one that this is not political, this is not religious, this is nothing except to point out that if you think that technology has not affected warfare and every aspect of our lives, a hacked prayer app sends surrender messages to Iranians amid Israeli strikes. Which I don't know whether this is sad. I don't know whether this is humorous. But obviously,
I have a comment building on this that's definitely for after dark.
Yeah. So, it just goes to show you, there's so much discussion over cyber warfare. Every morning, I get reports on the drone attacks that, the missiles are there, but the drones are a lot harder to stop. And so now we have apps being hacked, encouraging soldiers to surrender. I think it's fascinating.
This is a
thing.
calendar app for prayer times for essentially Muslims, depending on where they are in the world. And I again worked with a lot of Muslim teachers who came to Kent, and they had that app on their phone, and I would imagine many of the soldiers that were Iranian soldiers had similar kinds of apps on their phones. So hacking this was a deliberate attempt of propaganda manipulation. There are other things that could come up besides just a warning telling them to surrender. So yeah, it's pretty significant.
Marty, I'm glad to hear you say it, because I was a little concerned with bringing it up. But once again, I think that there's so many times that people don't appreciate how much the world has shifted, and the mainstream media, they sensationalize so many things, and you think, oh well, they're pushing it hard, or they're overextending themselves. No, these things are really happening. And then you think about, okay, if this can be pushed out in a wartime situation, what could be pushed out a lot more subtly through social media? And now we're back to the ByteDance conversation.
Yeah, this is a military psyop, and as this hacking thing did. Yeah. So,
Webb, I think you're going to hurt your neck by shaking acknowledgement that hard.
Yeah, this is psyops, as Marty said. This is trying to convince people that they should not be doing what they're doing. Skate around that nicely. So,
Yeah. Well, guys, we've had a lot of topics tonight. I know that some of you are anxious to get your Neos tomorrow, so we're going to let everybody go, get a little sleep. Eric's washing his hands. It's like, oh my God, I can't wait.
And David needs to unpack a box.
Yeah,
just one box, David. Just one box tomorrow.
Yeah, we can have a whole new kind of unboxing, Dave.
Good.
Yeah.
now it's unpacking bins. Transferred.
So let's switch this around. Since Eric got here a little bit late, let's let him go first out. Eric, good to see you and your cranes, your dancing cranes. Excuse me. Okay,
I just have to say, my iPad might not be here next time. Might be something Neo.
Okay.
Yes.
We will look forward to it.
We'll see.
In the meantime, where can folks find you?
I can be found on Mastodon at EA.Bolden at MAS.TO. Otherwise, Monday nights in real space, not virtual, on Vision Profiles with David and Marty. Tuesday nights, of course, here on MacVoices Live. And Thursdays on In Touch with iOS, kind of progressing through the OSs and news of the week.
Excellent. Thank you, Eric. Well, Bixby, I'm sorry you had to go away. I'm glad you came back, and I'm glad everybody is safe. Where can folks find you?
Mike's down. Okay. We had some pretty interesting weather. It didn't affect me in my house at all, but I'd never seen spiky hail. Think of a hail ball, but it had spikes on it. So it's never seen that before. So anyway, where can you find me? Well, you know what? I think I'm going to stick with all the socials, Web Bixby, WEB, BIXBY. I still stick with Blue Sky, not because I like it, but because Chuck sent me the invitation.
If you want any
So
other
it's Chuck's fault.
invitations, yeah, let me know, Web.
Yeah.
And I think you've just identified the first case of weaponized hail. I like that.
Oh, it was weird. They were showing it on TV. It was bizarre. So anyway,
I look forward to seeing that tomorrow morning. Mark Fuccio, thank you for being here. Where can folks connect with you?
Oh, in the physical world, I'm under the bridge by Highway 280 and Wolf Road by the Apple Space Ring campus. And Versal Space, you can get me on X, Mark Fuccio. My LinkedIn account, got hacked last Friday night, and it's like 4 days now, and I'm waiting for a response from the LinkedIn team. I doubt any one of them listens to this, but my LinkedIn account was hacked and stolen, and that's why you can contact me at X, formerly known as Twitter, at MarkFuccio. And if you get if any of you get anything from something that looks like me, from LinkedIn, it's I've never sent anything to anybody through LinkedIn, so you have been made aware.
Sorry to hear it. Jim Ray, thank you for being here. Glad you got the headphones and everything working. Where can folks find you?
Well, there's always Mastodon if I remember to check it. Lately, sometimes I've been looking at LinkedIn, so you can try that.
Brian Flanigan-Arthurs, thank you for being here. What's the best place for folks to connect with you?
I appreciate it. Thank you as always for having me. Best place to reach out and connect with me is through my website, brian8944.com.
Excellent. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Marty Jencius, good to have you as always. Where can folks find you?
Easiest way to find me is on the socials at JENCIUS at Mastodon.social or at Blue Sky. And Monday nights, as Eric has said, with Vision Profiles, sort of the anchor program for the podcasts that I do. Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Time with Eric and David. And the rest of the stuff, I'm here, Tuesday nights. I'm on David's on Thursday nights, and I'm on the Mac Show on Friday mornings. But the rest of my stuff you can find at thepodtalk.net.
Great. Thank you, Marty. Last but not least, Dave Ginsburg. Dave, thanks so much for being here. Where can folks connect with you?
Thanks for having me as always, Chuck. I really appreciate it. You can find me at In Touch with iOS, intouchwithios.com. It's youtube.com/intouchwithios is the YouTube channel. I'm on Mac Vision Profiles on Monday nights with Marty Eric. Tuesday nights here, Mac Voices Live. Thursdays we record the show In Touch with iOS, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, as well as on the Mac Show on the British Tech Network on Fridays, and Blue Sky Mastodons at Dave G65.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Folks, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is Mac Voices Live, Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern at youtube.com/MacVoicesTV. If you want to catch us live and participate in the chat room like a lot of folks have been doing here tonight, there are a lot of comments going on over there, some of them even about what we were talking about. And if not, of course, this always ends up in the feeds eventually. Until the next time, and as always, thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with Mac Voices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.